We all know that autism affects adults in a whole range of ways, but we also know that autism can leave many people feeling quite vulnerable to loneliness, isolation, abuse and neglect. And with the passing of the government's Care Act recently and the forthcoming consultation onto the guidelines and eligibility criteria, we see this as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to ensure that adults with autism are properly supported, particularly those who are vulnerable in the ways that we just described. We know many adults are vulnerable because we've asked them. We recently surveyed over 1,300 adults and their carers to understand how that vulnerability shows itself, and we were actually quite shocked by the figures coming back and the statistics. We found, for instance, that 41% of adults with autism often feel quite isolated and lonely. That compares with about 11% of the general population. Our concern with the new guidelines is that there's no provision for support for people to form relationships and develop friendships. We found that 7 out of 10 adults with autism found that without prompting they weren't eating meals. And in the new guidelines there's no provision for adults who need support beyond physical assistance, support with verbal prompting to do basic things like wash, eat and dress. That can't be right. And we also found that 49% of adults with autism were actually victims of abuse from people they thought were actually their friends. And again, that can't possibly be right, and that can't go without support. The current guidelines as they're written don't actually provide any support to people to free them from that potential abuse. So we've got to try and change this. We haven't got very long. The consultation ends towards the end of August, but we need to have as many people as possible who feel as strongly about this as we do to contact the Care Minister, Norman Lamb, to make sure that he knows how strongly you feel about it, that we do need to make sure that these guidelines are changed so that vulnerable adults with autism do get the right support. We've tried to make this easy for you. We're launching a campaign called Careless, and this is what this video is about. And we want you to join the campaign and back the campaign. And as I say, we've made it quite easy. If you go to autism.org.uk/careless, you can complete a form and send your views to the Care Minister, Norman Lamb. Please join the campaign and make sure that we make a big difference to the lives of autistic adults. Thank you.